So equality is an interesting question.
Can you give an example of fair not always being equal?
Well, it might not be fair to somebody who has worked extraordinarily hard to achieve something to find somebody else preferred over them because some sort of algorithm says that actually we haven't got enough certain group of people in the office or in whatever. That is equality of a kind that is really quite unfair. And I think it's also not actually helpful to the person who is being unjustly promoted over the head of somebody else. In the end, people being people, this will result in difficulties.
And we have to see people in the round as
we
they are.
We have to see people in the round. And for God's sake, let's try judging them for what they are, not what they represent. That's another huge difference between the right and left hemisphere, is that the right hemisphere sees the present person that is there with their qualities and their uniqueness.
Not the group they belong to.
The left hemisphere sees the category, the group and whatever.
Yeah, so the tribe.
The tribe. So we're now tribalising society in a way that is most unhelpful.
And so people sometimes start a sentence with something like, as a white man, or as a woman of colour, or as, so not as me.
Not as a human being.
Yeah, that's right. And that would be a left hemispheric sort of way of generalising and putting items into categories.
Yes, and it's the trouble with it is that it has an element of goodness in it.
Yeah.
Obviously, but the difficulty is that it's far too simplistic. It imagines the world is just a series of sort of chain reaction events. But when you actually look at any complex system, there are so many loops that go off and affect something else and recur and affect the chain you were first looking at. So you've got re-entrant loops, you've got reflexive effects, you've got the widening of effects that you had never thought of. So when you're dealing with a complex system, believing that I'm right and I know what is right, well, it's really an example that you don't know what you're talking about. Because as you know more and as you have more experience, you realise you cannot be so sure.
And it reminds me of the Nasruddin, the sort of Sufi teaching figure, everyman, and he's in the court of the king, and the king's spouting off about truth, and he says, I can make people say the truth, and therefore justice will be served. And Nasruddin says something cryptic, So the king says, right, I'll prove it to you. So the next day, at the front of the town, he has these gallows erected, and everybody wanting to go through the gates into the town have to answer a question put to them by one of the guardians, one of the guards, and the king's sitting there. And Nasruddin goes up and they ask him a question. He has to answer truthfully. And they say, where are you going? And he says, I'm on my way to be hung. Okay. And they say, we don't believe you. He says, well, in that case, hang me. And they say, well, if we do that, then what you say will be true, so we can't hang you. And of course, the whole thing's tied up in knots. And that seems to me to tell us something quite profound about perhaps the way we're going at the moment in society.
Yes, that's like the liar paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, yes.
Yeah.
This statement is false, and so on.